What's up, everybody? How you doing? Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be reminded of future videos. This is your Smackdown post show after show for Friday, July 15th. Smackdown just ended a few minutes ago, and we're going to go through the results. This is Eastern time, so if you haven't seen it yet, come back later and we'll talk about it. So the show starts off from Orlando with Pat McAfee coming out, being announced that he has signed a contract for 5 more years. He comes out, him and Happy Corbin start going at it, and Happy Corbin's on the monitor. McAfee's in the ring, and they just talk trash to each other. It all leads up to this. Pat McAfee introduces Liv Morgan. She comes out. She gets a pop, not the biggest pop. I don't know if it's dying down or whatever, but she gets a little pop. And what I noticed too right away is that she did not have her lifts on. I don't know if you've seen when she first came out. I believe it was last week after winning the title. She had lifts on her shoes to make her look bigger, but she's tiny. So this time she was going to wrestle, so she didn't have lifts on her shoes to make her look bigger. And she's going against Natalia. Tons of commercials. It was a pretty, I could see why they put her against Natalia right now because Liv's work was very mechanical. You could see that she was being careful, that she's not so polished yet. Where Natalia kind of carried her, just like Natalia carried Ronda Rousey. The crying gimmick was gone today, so they went at it and changing different moves. Natalia would do one move, then Liv would do the same move. Kind of a boring fight. The crowd was kind of quiet. At the end, of course, Liv gets the win because that's what Natalia's doing. She's putting her over right now. But I will say this, Liv, and I think people have seen it. If you watched the fight or you haven't watched it yet, Liv was very mechanical. She was very safe. So let's see what happens. And going forward, and then you got to remember that also the WWE pipes in crowd noise, So we got to know, we never know what's real on TV. So I heard the crowd, but I did not see it matching. I did not see it matching. Yes. And what's up to all you out there, Benny, scumbag? How you doing? Polite scumbag, man. Much love. Yeah, man. This is SmackDown is over. So we get it early over here. So I'm just going through it. You might want to come back later and we'll talk about the results, man. But much love and thank you for supporting us. So after that, we go to the back and we see the youngest Mr. Money in the Bank in history. Theory is being interviewed. He's going to be going up against Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam for the title. Paul Heyman comes out, and Paul Heyman tries to convince him that if he doesn't cash in on Roman Reigns, that he will get a chance later on at Roman Reigns, or Roman Reigns will give him a chance. So in other words, if you don't cash in, Theory, we'll take care of you. We'll give you a shot at the title, and you could save your suitcase. But Theory's like, nah, I ain't going for that. And it's pretty cool that they got Theory not falling into it and not agreeing with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman looks worried, so they're trying to kind of pay off Theory not to get him to cash in at SummerSlam. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Yes. Nextly, it was the New Day came out dressed as the Viking Raiders. They came out in whiteface, you could say. They came out dressed as Vikings, and it wasn't funny. It was meant to be funny. And they came out, and of course, the Viking Raiders came out angry, and they were jumped by all four of them. So the New Day, Shanky, and Mahal jumped the Viking Raiders. Nothing really exciting. It was kind of a boring segment. The New Day, people, I don't know if Vince McMahon thinks everything that the New Day does is funny, but to me, it was just boring. It was like not even over the top. It was just silly. So, there was that. Gunther was being interviewed in the back with Ludwig, his partner. So that he starts, the interviewer starts telling them, hey, you lost last week and, what's going to happen. And Gunther starts yelling at his partner and slapping him and saying, we don't lose, we don't lose. So there's going to be some stuff coming. Gunther's saying that we don't lose on our team, doing the whole Russia angle again without saying Russia. So Aaliyah versus Lacey Evans. Aaliyah comes out, of course, dressed like a miniature Carmella, comes out. And then Lacey Evans comes out to booze, of course. Everybody likes Aaliyah, but Lacey Evans comes out to booze. She gets on the microphone right away. She starts saying, I'm an American. I'm a hero. You guys wish you could do what I've done. You guys are a bunch of losers, pretty much. Then she goes, but you know what? I've talked bad. I'll apologize. And everybody goes, boo. And then she basically says, you're not going to accept my apology. And no, they're not. We're not going to accept your apology. Everybody boos her. So she basically tells off the crowd and says, I'm out of here. The match does not happen. She leaves again down the ramp and says pretty much she's not going to waste her time performing for this audience in Orlando that they don't deserve to see her. So the match never happens. So that's a couple of things already that didn't happen right there, right? So the next match that had been going from last week, we know that Sheamus says he couldn't fight. He couldn't fight Drew McIntyre last week because of COVID. So this week we have Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre. So McIntyre comes out, of course, he gets a pop from the crowd. Sheamus and his buddies come out, and all of a sudden the announcer announces, and Drew McIntyre's opponent is Rich Holland. So we're not really told why. We're not really shown why. And so it seems like Sheamus has been ducking Drew. Anyways, they come out, somewhat of a boring match, I would say. And yes, Rich Holland loses. Sheamus, easy win, goes around, the usual stuff. Butch trying to jump in. Sheamus, it's just a normal match, which we see every week, Pretty good, man. Sheamus is a great entertainer. I think he's even better than Drew. But the match doesn't happen, so we see a clean pin. Drew McIntyre pins Rich Holland. Nextly, we're in the back. We see Paul Heyman. And what's going to happen right now is Theory's about to face Madcap Moss in the back. And Madcap is jacked. He's back there being interviewed. And then Paul Heyman butts in again. And he says, he says, Madcap, you're about to face Theory. When you beat up Happy Corbin, he was gone for weeks. If you do that to Theory, we'll give you a title shot later. So, again, Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns, they're trying to talk to people to hurt Theory so he doesn't cash in on them. Madcap Moss doesn't accept. He pretty much says, Paul, you're worried about your champion. You're worried about this. And, so it's on. So Paul Heyman's running around trying to be sure that Theory does not cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase at SummerSlam, which is coming to the end of the month. So we have Theory versus Madcap Moss. Theory comes out with the suitcase, and a pretty good match. These are two youngsters. These guys are the future of the business, and a pretty good match. They're both cut up. They're both strong, and they're going at it. A bunch of throws. Madcap's a little more doing the physical stuff because Theory's obviously smaller, and basically it all comes down to they go outside the ring after fighting for a while, and Theory is kind of getting beat up, so he hits Madcap Moss with the Money in the Bank suitcase and loses. So he gets disqualified. So Madcap Moss is the winner, and so he's kind of celebrating or whatever as much as you can after getting hit by a suitcase. And arrogantly, Theory is walking back down to the back, and as he's about to go in the back, Sami Zayn comes out, the honorary Uso, the locker room leader. Sami Zayn comes out. And it's kind of a weird because Sami played it different. He's like, hey, man, you guys, he tells Theory, he goes basically, Theory, you're not going to, you were saying you're going to cash that in on either Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns. You shouldn't do that. And then Theory's like, what you going to do about it, Sammy? What you going to do? Why are you sucking up to them? Why are you being their boy? Stuff like that, So, yeah, we'll get to your questions in a minute, guys. So basically, Sammy's confident. Sammy's going, you don't want to do that. In other words, threatening Theory. You don't want to cash in. And Theory goes, what are you going to do? And out comes the Usos. Out comes the Usos, and the music hits. And Theory kind of like goes back down to the ring because he doesn't want to fight Sammy and the Usos at the same time. As he goes back to the ring, he gets beat up by Madcap Moss, and the Usos come out. They hit the ring. They're going to face the Street Profits. Actually, I take that back. It's going to be Angelo Dawkins versus Jimmy Uso, one-on-one. But everybody's out there. So the Street Profits come out, and they're out there. Everybody's on their side. Sami Zayn is on the announce table talking his smack and how Roman Reigns loves him, and he's the honorary Uso, that he's part of the family. And he's being questioned by the announce table, saying, hey, does Roman Reigns, didn't you say you were going to win the Money in the Bank to protect him for 1 year? And you didn't? Have you seen Roman Reigns? And he's like, nah, man, I haven't seen him yet. So that's what's happening. So Angelo Dawkins versus Jimmy Uso, a pretty good fight. Overall, nothing great. But when the Usos come out, they're so over. They get a big ovation. Actually, the Street Profits did too. So basically the fight, they're going, and what happens is the referee gets knocked out. So Angelo Dawkins goes to pin Jimmy Uso, but the ref's knocked out. Then Jimmy Uso super kicks Angelo Dawkins and pins him, but the ref is still knocked out. So now he's starting to wake up, and Jimmy Uso's trying to wake up the ref so he could pin Angelo. And as he turns around, Angelo gets him and does a power bomb on him and pins him 1, 2, 3. The only problem is Jimmy Uso loses, but his shoulder was up. So another controversial finish. Angelo Dawkins wins. The people in the audience seem happy. So now the general manager, the Usos are complaining. They're really bad. They're angry. They're saying their shoulder was up. Sami Zayn's in the announce table saying the shoulder was up. And it's kind of like payback for what happened at the last pay-per-view. Well, anyways, the general manager comes out and he goes, hey, I see you guys are mad from the last pay-per-view. You guys, your shoulder was up when you didn't win the title. And he says, tonight, Usos, you guys are mad because your shoulder was up. Maybe some bad calls. And he said, so at SummerSlam, we're going to have a special referee. And you guys guessed it. We all knew it. No, we didn't. Not one person thought this guy would be the special referee at SummerSlam. I was thinking maybe Brock Lesnar, maybe Sami Zayn. Who else could it be? Edge. I mean, it could have been anyone. Charlotte Flair, the Fiend. I mean, anybody you would think. This is the last person you would think. So he goes on to announce that the person who was going to be the special referee at SummerSlam is Mr. Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett, double J, double R, So, Jeff Jarrett, man. Ooh. So, man, that's just a trip because he used to war with WWE when he was in the other promotion. I think it was TNA and all that stuff. So Jeff Jarrett, not too exciting, but he's a legend, man. It's just one of those things. So he's probably going to hit somebody with the guitar. And, man. So that's kind of like Smackdown goes off the air. And nothing really big. But I just want to say to you guys out there, Esa Benny from Denver, thank you, brother. What's happening? And Polite Scumbag, man, hello. Then Mob Nasty, what's up, Mob Nasty? How you doing, brother? And also Michael Friere. He says, Michael Friere asks, what are your opinions on Theory being pushed so hard? You know what? Theory, okay, let's go back to Roman Reigns about 2 years ago. Nobody wanted Roman Reigns to win. They would push him, and people were booing, get him out of here, he sucks. But Vince, that was Vince's boy. Vince did not care. He stuck with it. He kept pushing him. Till finally, when they turned Roman Reigns heel, people started liking him. 2 years into that, now we have this new boy. This is Vince's new boy. You know, this is the new guy. This is the person of the future that Vince McMahon sees in this position, man. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting as he is going to be the one. What's up, incredible Javier? That's right. JEFFJARRET. I guess he's a Jeff Jarrett fan, man. The incredible Javier. Yeah, man. So I see that I really see that Theory is the future. He's the new John Cena. They're going to push him, and he might get the money. He might get the title at Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank. I'm sorry, SummerSlam, or in the near future. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. And if he does pin Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, does he get both titles or just one? That's the question I was asking with Cholo Trucker, you know. And Michael's saying if it's Jeff Jarrett that the Uso wins, that's interesting. That's interesting, yeah, because Jeff Jarrett's been a bad guy a lot. And then Drew McIntyre, Drew McIntyre, he was the babyface. He was the one, man. But you know what? He gets a pop, but he doesn't get a pop like a lot of these guys, man. I think the heat on Theory is bigger than the pop that Drew McIntyre gets. And although Drew is huge, and I think he's going to get a push in this next month because of Clash in the Castle pay-per-view, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with it, man. Do the people really want him as a champion? And I believe that if they put Drew, if he gets the title and they put him as a heel, I think that'll work. If he was a bad guy, in other words. So, and then what's going to happen with Vince McMahon, guys? Vince McMahon, man, just all these allegations, and they're not even allegations, they're true because he did pay out these people. There's non-disclosure agreements, NDA. They on the board did not tell the stockholders, so they kept it from them. So it's going to be interesting to see if Vince continues in this position, man. He says he's going to do whatever the outcome of the investigations. Do you guys believe that? I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. Another thing that's bothering me is Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns being a part-time. He's not going to be at all the pay-per-views. He was here at the last one, I believe, right? Or did he miss it? I'm not sure. But he had missed, in these last couple of months, he's missed 2 pay-per-views. And he's going to miss Extreme Rules. So he's going to be here and there. So I think we need to put the title on somebody. And I think that person might just be Theory, man. Or Theory. Does Theory get it from Drew McIntyre? Or do they give it for Brock for a minute? I don't know. Will he cash in? Charlotte Flair's coming back, people. It's going to be neat. She's coming back pretty soon. She'll probably be back at SummerSlam. And then also for you guys local to Los Angeles, WWE Raw is going to be coming September 16th. The Mexican Independence, man, they're going to be coming that day. So they're going to be in Anaheim. It's going to be a trip, man. But anyways, guys, I just wanted to drop in and give you your SmackDown report after show of what happened. Be sure to subscribe and help us. And please share the channel. We appreciate it. Thank all you people, man. Incredible Javier, Michael, Mob, Polite Scumbag, Benny, and everyone else, man, who will be watching this later. Take care, man. This is Wrestling Rehab. Thank you for being one of our wrestling junkies. Later.